Today, I have a super special treat for you. I have got an incredible speaker, an energizer, a connector, Juliette Bryant. And Juliette is going to be sharing with you something very powerful, how you can connect to the infinite wisdom in yourself, the infinite wisdom of this planet, and use that to have more energy, more connection. Because most people, unfortunately, in our society, they're living very disconnected lives, right?
They are. They really are. It's my passion to really help people tune back into that wisdom that is infinitely within them. And we forget, we think that we're disconnected, but actually we're not. And that's the funny aspect of it all, is that this connection is always there. It's always in us. It's always underneath everything running, but we have tuned out of it. Yeah. And so what I like to do, and the work I do with the world and people, is to help people remember and reawaken to that truth within them.
Awesome. I absolutely love that, because I've found the same thing. Like the universal energy, you can call it God, consciousness, the earth, your highest self, whatever you want to call it. It's always there for us, but we just have to, most of the time we're so busy trying to be busy that we don't actually take time to open ourselves to that connection.
Yeah, I think that's the key. It's the busyness. We spend our life having to fill things in to make us feel good or fulfilled. It's like phones and all the rest of it. We bombard our minds and our beings so that we don't have that stillness. But it's not until you get that stillness that you can really drop into hearing and feeling. It's like, I don't know if you've ever experienced that thing where you listen to music and it's amazing music, and then the music stops and there's that silence. And that silence is so amazing and beautiful and full. And you go, oh, listen to that silence. And it's like exercise. You exercise and then you stop and you can feel good because you've moved. And I think sometimes we have to have that activity and busyness, but we then have to remember the opposite of it, which is the stopping and the recalibrating and allowing things to settle and feeling what that feels like in our being. But I think we've become so scared to feel. People drink alcohol, they eat lots of food, they go on their phones, they distract themselves with television, all these things to distract us from feeling, because we're scared of that unknown, or what we'll feel, or what to do with those emotions, how to sit with things. But it's not till we do sit with those things that we can understand and feel the beauty that is our being.
Wow. I think that's one of the strongest openings to an interview I've ever heard. Everyone, if you're interested, strap yourselves in. We're going to go deep. And yeah, Juliette, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing this interview. I know I've seen you speak before, and you're just so yourself. I think it's really beautiful to see your level of realness. And yeah, thank you for showing up as you are.
Thank you. Thank you. That's beautiful. That's made me a bit emotional.
It's true. It's true. I never lie. I always speak the truth, and that's been my journey. And one of the things I really help people with is to understand who they are. And when you suggested getting people to connect with infinite wisdom, like, that's to me what people are. We're infinite beings. We're connected to infinite wisdom, and that is where we came from, and that's where we go back to. And it's open to us all. But
yeah,
the first time I saw you speak, actually, I think it was about 3 years ago, and I had been on my spiritual journey for maybe about a year then, and I was feeling so connected. And what I found is, over the last 4 years since I had my spiritual awakening, it keeps being like deeper and deeper levels. And now I've got to this amazing place where I'm pretty sure I'm just going to keep getting more and more and more connected. I don't know if there's ever an end to it. And that's so exciting.
It is. It's such a beautiful journey, isn't it? Once you start on it, and it doesn't ever finish. It's like we were talking before we started recording about learning, you know, and I said, I don't think I will ever not learn, or there'll never not be stuff for me to keep growing and learning with. And I think that's what you're saying, you know, the universe is such an incredible place, and it can be daunting at times, and it can be overwhelming and all the rest of it, and we can get locked in fear. But when you actually stop, and, you know, for me, nature is one of those things that pulls me in so often and gets me out of wherever I'm in. If I'm in a fear state, or I'm, you know, not sure about anything, I go and I look at a tree, and like recently, the buds are coming out on the tree, you know, the leaves are coming out, and you get this beautiful, bright green, vibrant life force coming out. Or you plant a seed, and you watch that seed that was this dormant thing that sat there doing nothing. And you plant that seed and give it water and soil, those nutrients. And before you know it, this seed has sprung to life. And I kind of view us as seeds. You know, we are these beings that have all this potential, all this knowledge, all this information locked in us in a shell. And we're waiting to be put in that warm soil with the nutrients around us, a little bit of water and a little bit of sunshine. And then we can open up into the divine beings that we all are.
You make gardening sound so sexy. Let's do it. Let's do it.
I mean, it is though. Like, gardening is one of the most incredible things, like that connection to the earth, getting outside and, you know, really connecting with the earth, I think is such a magical process. And it's something that excites me so often when I either grow food or go out for a walk and just see that life force bursting out. And that's what I think, that's what, you know, when we think about sex and those kind of things, it's about creating life, isn't it? It's about life force moving and shifting in our being. And that's what nature's about. It's about awakening of life force in a tree, in the earth, wherever it is. And when you can tune into that, and tune into that process is going on in you all the time, it's an amazing thing. You know, you have to do is look at a flower like a rose. There's such majesty and beauty in that, such complexity, yet it happens in such a simple way. And that same complexity and beauty and magic is happening in us in every second, in every breath. You know, our cellular processes that are going on are so remarkable, and we don't know anything about them. We're just unconscious to them, and they're just happening still. And I think that when we can start to tune into that vibration of the fact that, you know, these things are happening without our conscious awareness, that are so intelligent, so complex, and all we need to do is just be for them to happen. And you can start putting that into play with everything in your life. If we can just be present and conscious and open, everything can just play out as it's meant to, in the most beautiful, complex, intricate way that the universe wants it to.
I'm sold. Okay, great. When do we do it? Let's go.
We're doing it now. That's the thing. That's what we're creating now, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're opening up and tuning into it. And you know, I run mentorship programs, and each week we meet and tune in and I go on a journey with people through this whole process. And it's simple. It's just returning to ourselves.
Absolutely wonderful. And Juliette, I'm so excited for our event that we're running together on the 7th of March. It's going to be absolutely epic. So we run our public speaking masterclasses every single month. We do a full day event on a Saturday. And Juliette's our extra special guest speaker this month. And she's going to be doing a whole presentation to teach you about energy, this aliveness, this connection, this wisdom. And Juliette is a huge speaker. She's very humble, so she probably wouldn't like blow her own trumpet, but I'll blow it for her. So Juliette speaks at all the big festivals. She travels all over the place helping people. She's been doing it for years and years and years, and she's super successful in lots of different areas. But one of her favorite things that she loves to talk about is nutrition and energy. And when I first met you, Juliette, I was still eating meat. I was still eating dairy. I was drinking alcohol. And since then, I don't do any of that. I've gone completely clean. Health became a huge focus for me. Now I don't drink. I am vegan. I just love eating high vibrational foods. So thank you so much for whatever part you played in that. I'm sure your higher self was playing with my higher self and helped me on that transition somehow. What do you want to tell people about this event? Like, what's going to be happening and why should people come?
Well, I think it's really important for people to experience firsthand how, I mean, we're going to be talking about energy stuff as well, but we're going to be talking about the vibration of food and how food can interact with your energy field. So people have probably had the experience where they've eaten something like a really sugary cake and a coffee and maybe had that high for a bit and then the slump. Now, if you're going out and you're talking to people and you're interacting, however you feel in your being, that's what you're putting forward. And that's what people are reading. You know, when you look into heart math stuff, our field extends out up to 6 foot around us, you know, so we have this energetic field that is interacting with everyone's field around us. So when we want to speak, when we want to be a public speaker, when we want to be a being that is influencing others, how our energy is on all levels, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, is really, really key, because we can put on a mask and we can fake it and we can be, oh yeah, I'm great. But underneath, what people are getting is the truth of where you are in your being. And so that truth is so important to align to. And that's one of the things I love so much about you, Luke, is that you are so aligned to your truth and that's what you're putting forward. So you come across as very genuine and authentic, because you are just communicating your being. And that's beautiful because people feel that. So if I could go around and I could say something, I could start spouting out, you know, don't eat sugar. And now if I was eating sugar all the time, people would hear what I was saying on one level, but then they would feel this energetic disconnect from that, because that would not have been my truth. It is my truth, but people wouldn't be reading that. So aligning to that truth and speaking from that place, I think, is the most authentic way to get people to hear you. Because otherwise, part of their being is always going, something's off. Don't know what it is about that person, but don't quite gel with them. And I think that's, you know, you said one of the things about me that you really liked was that I'm just me when I speak and my authenticity. And again, I think that's because I'm speaking just from my experience and my life and my truth. And I think that's the only way we can teach and be is from that place of authenticity. So what I'm going to be talking about on next Saturday is how we connect to that truth, and also how food can play a part in that. So as I was saying, if you have cake and coffee and you go up and present, maybe you're on that high and that buzz from the sugar and the caffeine, but ultimately your true energy, like that reserve of life force that's flowing through your being, is going to be being depleted. So you can do that for a while, but what you'll find you do is you go up and then you crash and burn. So you may have great success for a while and then you get sick and you get wiped out for a bit and you have to cancel events. And I've seen this a lot with clients that I work with, this crash and burn thing of this constant up and down cycle. And it doesn't have to be like that. You can have full energy and be vibrant and full of life, because it's coming from a depth that you are filling energetically and nutritionally. So I'll be showing people what foods they can have to really fill that, and exercises so that energetically we can feel that life force. It's like, I like to view it as like a cup at the base of our spine. And this cup is, I'm quite pictorial, so everything I do has an image, because I think that's how we can relate to it best. So how I like to view it is that we've got this like little chalice, almost this cup at the base of our spine, and there's a pipe that goes deep down into the earth that pulls water up from the earth to fill this chalice. Now, what's meant to happen is this chalice is meant to be really full of water, and this water is splurting out this beautiful fountain, and that fountain is the energy we use to give out in the day. And we don't touch the water in the chalice. That is our reserve of life force, that when we get sick, we've got that thing, we've got that base to always fall back on, just in case we get unplugged sometimes. So what I like to do with people is guide them in how we can really get that plug going deep into the earth, so that that chalice is always overflowing with energy, with life force, with chi. And then there are foods that we can be incorporating in to work to support that chalice. So that's kind of a little taster of what we'll be talking about.
Sounds absolutely amazing. And we're going to do a process shortly to get us connected to this source of infinite wisdom and energy, which I'm super, super looking forward to. But I just want to share a little story of myself, and then I'm sure everyone is super curious about you, Juliette, and they want to know a bit more about the enigma that is Juliette Bryant. You know, I was addicted to coffee for a long time. I used to work in corporate. I did 5 years working for a big multi-billion-dollar company. And I worked my way up to being a senior sales manager there. And there was coffee machines in there, and people were having 5-6 cups of coffee a day. It was normal. And then I would get home and I'd be like literally wired and shaking. And I was so irritable. And then one day I went into the office around 8 a.m. and I got to my desk and someone asked me a question. And I snapped at them, said, "How dare you ask me a question? You know not to speak to me until I've had my coffee." And it was automatic. It didn't come from me. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like I didn't know about energy then, but there's some energy has got hold of me. Like, I'm not in control of this. And I quit coffee cold turkey right there and then. And since I did that, my energy levels have been so much higher. One of the shocking things that I know now is we're just not taught tools of how to wake ourselves up without needing drugs. And you can use your breath, you can use movement. So I like to dance in the morning or do yoga or do a little workout, and I like to sing, and I like to do breath work and these kind of things now or meditate to tap in. But we're just never taught these. And so the only thing we're taught is double espresso. and that's just the level of miseducation that we have. So I'd love for you just to share, Juliette, a little bit about your journey. Like, were you always super amazing, conscious and tapped in, or was there a time when you were a mere mortal?
I want to say something on the coffee point first, and then I will address my mere mortality. Coffee is one of those things that is so interesting, and we are so addicted to it as a nation. One of the best ways to wake up after you've cleaned your mouth is a large glass of water with some raw grey sea salt and lemon, and you drink that, and that will activate your being so much. Salt in water has a way to really energize our cells and create this electrical current in our being. So that's such a key, easy way, and it aids a detoxification, all those kind of things. I used to have one
moment, Juliette. Raw grey sea salt. I've never even heard of it. I do a similar thing with Himalayan salt, pink Himalayan salt, and I also use apple cider vinegar. So what is it specifically raw grey sea salt is the best kind, or like any kind of salt?
So Himalayan is good, but raw grey sea salt is better. So raw grey sea salt is still alive. Like, if you put raw grey sea salt into a jar, you'll see it moving around the jar. It's wet salt. Huh? So it's got all of its energy still in there. It's not been kiln dried. It's just a really living vibration. So it's got a lot of current, and it comes from close to, obviously we're in the UK. If you're not in the UK, it's a slightly different thing, but it's close to us. It's Celtic. So it's near us in geography, which I think is an important thing. Okay. So it's the one that I think I really resonate with the most. Himalayan is great, but it's also not from where we are. And I do like foods that are not from where we are as well. But with certain things, I think it's try the raw grey sea salt and tune in and see which works best for you. There's an interesting thing about Himalayan salt, which is my antidotal feeling about it. So this is not scientific research. This is how I feel from the research that I have done. And Himalayan salt grows in these caves underground, and it's really pure, which is amazing. But the salt is on the rocks, and what the salt does is it pulls out nutrients from the rocks and it pushes back nutrients into the rocks. It has this movement that it does, and this movement that it does is based on the moon's whether the moon is full or new. Now, I was working with people, and what I was noticing is that people were coming to me, this was a while ago, and they were lacking in nutrients. There was this strange lacking in nutrients that didn't seem to match what they were eating. And what I noticed is that a lot of these people were all having Himalayan salt as their only salt that they consumed. And then I came across this evidence about the moon and how the salt gives and puts back, takes and gives back to the rocks. And I started to tune into it. And the message that kept coming up was, if it does this on the rocks, it's doing this in our body. Because we follow the moon, we're water beings. So when I tuned in more, I really felt that this was happening. So Himalayan salt, I think, is an amazing thing for part of the month because it gives you nutrients, but it also can, the other part, take nutrients out of your body. You think about Himalayan salt, you put it in the bath. What does it do? It pulls out. It's got a drawing effect on the body of pulling out toxins, pulling things out of our body. So if it's doing that, we have to look at, well, is it doing that for nutrients? And I really think it is. So people don't always know whether it's full or new moon, or, not everyone is tuned into the moon. So what I say is use Himalayan salt, but don't use it as your only salt. Mix it up and use the raw grey sea salt as well, because then you will naturally come to a balance with it. And I love Himalayan salt, but I'm very conscious that there is a cycle going on, I feel, in my body. Now, what I always say to people is, don't just take what I say blindly, like tune in and feel for it, feel into it yourself, because what's right for one person isn't what's right for another. And, we've seen this with diets. There are thousands of different diets out there. And one person can lose, I lost 10 stone on this Slim Fast diet. And another person might put weight on with it. So, it's like some people like keto, some people don't like keto, some people like paleo. And it's because we're all individuals and we all operate in different ways, that one thing is not right for everyone. There may be elements that are right. So for me, what I like to say is that this connection to our inner wisdom, this connection to that infinite within us, is the most important thing. So you can listen to someone and go, that really resonates. I'm going to take that bit. That bit doesn't resonate so much. So I'm not going to take that. And it's only by really connecting into ourselves that we can start to discern what is right for us and what isn't, and not follow blindly what people say, like doctors, and this is why we're in a problem that we're in nowadays, is because we've taken on this stance of parent-child and following blindly what people in authority say to us. And there is a saying that a master, the teacher, never tries to bring you to the teacher, but only tries to bring you back to yourself. And I think, I can't remember who said that, but it's stuck in my head as one of the most profound, important messages, that whatever authority figure we're looking at, they should not be trying to tell us that they are God or they are whatever. They should be bringing us back to ourselves and to the God that is within every one of us, the infinite wisdom, the universe, whatever you want to call it, but bringing us into that space of not ego, but deep connection, knowing that we are part of the universe and the universe is part of us. We are part of the earth. We breathe with the earth breathes with us. There is no difference.
Wonderful.
I don't know how I got slightly sidetracked onto that when we were talking about coffee, but
that was an incredible sidetrack. I'm very glad that we did. Okay, tell us about
you wanted to know about the base of my existence, didn't you?
Tell us about your mere mortality. We're super interested.
So I've always had a connection to spirituality, to things like that from a very young age. I saw ghosts. I was tuned into spirit stuff And it freaked me out when I was young. I didn't understand it, and my parents tried to keep me very protected. Like, I was never allowed to go to the Tower of London because my mum said it would be too much for me energetically. I wouldn't be able to cope with it. From the age of 8, my mum got multiple sclerosis, and she transformed our diets, she transformed our lives. My parents were very spiritual people in a Christian sense. They were quite religious. They ran healing groups for the church. They did, they were very active, and their mum got sick, and they had to stop doing so much. We traveled around the world going to different healers, different doctors. My dad luckily had a very successful business and had a lot of money, so he spent all of it. He died with in debt because he spent all of his money trying to heal my mother, which was such a beautiful thing. My mum died when I was 21, a few weeks after my 21st birthday. But from the age of 8, she was ill, very ill. She had chronic progressive MS, so I saw her get sick really quickly. And it was a really hard thing as a kid to see, the person you love, who was, she was this vibrant powerhouse of a being. So much energy, so much presence. She's one of those people that walked in the room and everyone turned, because she was so stunningly beautiful and just had such an aura. And then to be knocked out into a wheelchair, she couldn't talk properly. You had to go through the alphabet and go A, B, and she'd blink, and that's how after a while you could communicate. And her mind was still there. And as a teenager, I rebelled massively. I was so angry with life and the universe for putting me in this situation where I had a mum who couldn't do things. We moved to the States because they had the latest drug over there and the top neurologist. So we moved our whole family over to Florida so that my mum could get with this doctor and get on this new drug, which actually made her worse. My dad was still working in the UK because he had a company here. My younger brother was still at school here. So my mum and I moved over there. I was her main carer. We had carers come in, but I was the main carer, and my dad would come over once a month. So I then started smoking. I drank lots. I partied. I did everything I could to kind of escape. What?
No way. Can't believe it, Juliette.
To escape, the like crap that was my life at the time. It was a very privileged life as well. I went to a lovely private school and I had, lovely clothes and lovely car and all the rest of that stuff. But none of that matters when like you're dealing with seeing someone terminally ill around you, and also seeing the hypocrisy of life. My mum switched our diet, so we ate fish, but we had no meat, because the studies she had seen showed that animal fat could make MS worse, that could degenerate the myelin sheath more, whereas fish fat helped protect it. So she had transformed our diets from when we were 8. She did a lot of research into nutrition and supplements, high dose vitamin C, all these things. She was really into it all, which is where I got my grounding for it all. And, as a teenager, I had huge mental health issues. I was really depressed. I tried to kill myself. I put myself into hospital because I couldn't cope with the life that we were in. Also, I was going through this funny, crisis of consciousness. I don't know what it is, that thing of being so different and so awake on some levels, and society being so asleep, and having that how do you fit in, like when you're so different from people? And I did fit in. I had lots of friends and all of that, but on a deeper level I didn't fit in. It was like I didn't have that connection, soul connection with people so much. And I could read people's palms, I could read people's energy if I wanted to, I could see people's auras, I could all of that stuff, and that just was like, get me out of here, please, this is too much. So at times I did think, I don't want to be here. I don't want to tune in and not be able to do anything. It's like, how can I change this? And what was really interesting is I walked into this spiritual bookshop when I was 14, and this book on Reiki fell out of the shelf into me. And the woman behind the counter said, "Can I see your hands for a minute?" And she took my hands and she held them and she said, you've got the signs of a Reiki master. She said, you're doing healing, but you're not doing it right. Like, you need to be taught to channel this properly. Because at the moment you're just using your reserves of energy. And I was like, yeah, okay, but like, I don't have any money. And she's like, well, why don't you work in the bookshop as an exchange? And I was like, oh, I like the sound of that. Like, you know, part of me was this skeptic, like she's just saying it to get money. But then I thought, actually, I could exchange that. I'd love to work in a spiritual bookshop. And so that then opened up and I started to learn about healing. And that was like the beginning of it all. And then my mission was like, I'm going to heal my mum. And that's why I got into healing, because I was like, I can heal my mother. You know, we can, anything is possible. We can heal anything. When she died, obviously, I was a bit pissed off at the universe, because I was like, but we can heal anything. Why could I not heal her? And it was later on I realized that, you know, no one can heal anyone else. We have to heal ourselves. And we don't know what journey we're on or why some people have to die. That's just their path. And I understand that and accept that now. You know, I've been on many ups and downs with the whole process, and I've thrown it all the way many times and gone, forget it. I just want to go out and get a normal job. I want to just be normal. It's too much. But I guess probably 17 years ago, I fully embraced it and just thought, you know what, this is me. And I'm just going to be me, because it's too hard to not be me. You know, it takes a lot of energy to be normal when you're not.
It's one of my biggest bugbears with especially people when they start public speaking, like newer speakers. This is the way I've channeled myself to help people, is through teaching public speaking, right? So, and self-expression. And when you're a public speaker, you have to really find out who you are, and then you have to express that, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You have to be so open. And one of the biggest things I see is people just trying too hard to be something that they're not. And it's just painful for me to watch. It's like when you're a really amazing musician. I've done music most of my life, and you can see when people are just like not quite in tune, right? And it's kind of painful. It's the same with a lot of people. And so that's so beautiful. You had that experience, you know, at such a young age, to be able to work in a spiritual bookshop and find who you are and get connected to that. And I would love, Juliette, for us to do, you suggested you had this cool process, or we could do something amazing to get really connected. So everyone who has tuned in and watched this all the way through, you're about to experience something. I went to this Mind Body Spirit festival a few weeks ago, and the universe speaks to me very clearly. This woman just gave me a leaflet. She's like, you need this. I'm like, okay. And so I said, cool, what is it? And she said, blah, 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 blah. She said, what do you want to work on? I just said to her, I'd love to have an experience. Like, just give me an experience. And it was one of the coolest things I'd ever said. I'd never said it before. And now that's all I want. I just want an experience. It can be positive. It can be not, like, whatever. I think when we're open to that and we don't try and judge how something shows up, that's where we can be very surprised by magic.
Love it.
So Juliette, can you give us an experience?
I will definitely do my best. I'm not sure what this experience will be. That's one of the things I like to do, is there's so many different ways we can connect, and I don't like planning how that's going to come forth. So it's always spur of the moment, and just tuning into what the universe wants to communicate. So it's going to be spur of the moment.
Sounds wonderful.
Okay, so if everyone wants to just take a moment to get comfortable and bring your awareness to your breath, not controlling it, but just being aware of the gentle rise and fall of your breath. Allowing everything to settle in your being. And as you allow everything to settle, your breath becomes slower and deeper. And as your breath becomes slower and deeper, you feel yourself sinking into the seat, into the bed, into the chair, wherever you are. You feel everything sinking, relaxing, releasing. Through our breath, we can release so much tension and stress. We can let go of the past, the present, the future. Through our breath, we can be present in the moment. So allowing that breath just to take you into yourself. Allowing the breath to help you release anything from before, anything from the future, just bringing you now, here. One of the things that is so important when we do anything is to set an intention. So I'd like you to take a moment through your breath to set an intention for today, for this moment, for this meditation. What do you want to achieve? What does your soul want to achieve? What is your intention? And allow that intention to be said 3 times in your mind. Breathe it through 3 breaths. My intention is to connect myself deeper with myself and the earth. And I visualize that connection, that intention in my being. I'd like you to imagine now that you're walking on a path. And the path is leading to a beautiful woodland. And as you walk on the path, you notice the earth underneath your feet. You can hear the birds singing around you. You can feel the sun shining on your skin. And you can feel a gentle breeze going past you. You can feel all the signs of the earth talking to you, communicating as it does in every moment. And as you walk along the path, you get to the woodland. And in front of you, you see a beautiful tree. The tree is calling to you. And you go over to the tree and you sit with your back against its bark. And as you feel the bark against the back of you, so you feel your whole body settling. You notice the roots of the tree around you, big, beautiful, thick roots. You notice a moss on the ground, creating a beautiful soft carpet. And you feel yourself sinking into the earth, relaxing. And as you sink into the earth, you realize that you have beautiful roots, just like the tree, thick, beautiful roots. And these roots are moving down through the earth. And as they move down through the earth, they feel the warmth of the earth, the protection of the earth. And as these roots move down, they reach the center of the earth. And there in the center of the earth is a beautiful stone. And this stone can be any color you like. This is the gift of the earth for you in this moment. This is the energy that your body, your soul needs in this moment to tune into. Feel your roots gently embracing this stone, gently wrapping around it. And the energy of the stone is moving through your roots along with the energy of the earth. The energy of the earth is a deep feeling of protection, of connection, of unconditional love. So much of the time we feel alone, and yet when we tune into the earth, we know that we are never alone, for we are one with the earth, and the earth is one with us. And so we allow this energy of the earth and of this stone to move up through our being, move up through these roots, through the earth, up into our feet, bringing a sense of deep nurturing, deep protection. And this energy moves up through our legs and our knees, through our thighs and our hips, bringing a sense of grounding, connection, attunement, love. Moving up into our belly, filling our belly with warmth and reassurance. Moving up into our chest and our heart area. And as it moves into our heart area, we feel our lungs opening with the breath of life. Taking a really deep breath, really breathing that energy into our heart and our lungs. Releasing any fear of life, any fear of openness. Allowing that love of the earth to really flow through us. Allowing that energy to move into our throat, helping us to speak our truth. Up through our face, into our third eye, up through our crown. Filling every cell in our body with the vibration of unconditional love. Feeling our whole being bursting with that deep sense of connection and love. And from that space of fullness, from that space of deep connection, we send out a thought of gratitude. Gratitude for ourselves, for being here in this moment. Gratitude for the earth. For the earth provides us shelter, sunlight, warmth, food, love. The earth holds us in her beautiful embrace. And we feel that in our being and we give thanks. For without the earth, we would not be here now. The earth is the ultimate mother. No matter what's happened with our mothers or our families, doesn't matter, because we can tune into that deep love that the earth always has for us. And we give thanks for the here and now, for this moment in time, the only moment that really exists, and for the breath. And from this space of deep connection with ourselves and the earth, I want you to ask that inner wisdom, that deep part of yourself, for your next step. What is your next step? Just one thing. What is your next step that you need to do in your life? And allow this to come from the earth, from your inner wisdom, from that deeper part of your being. And feel that next step moving through every part of you, really integrating into your being. And taking a really deep breath and releasing it. And bringing your awareness back to your physical body, back to being here, listening to my voice, bringing with you that deep sense of connection to yourself and to the earth, bringing your awareness to your fingers and your toes and slightly moving them, maybe moving your head from side to side, grounding your body, bringing your awareness back to this physical space. And when you're ready, opening your eyes and taking a moment to allow whatever experience you've had to integrate in and be present. How was that?
You made me cry, so that's usually a good sign. It was beautiful, thank you. I'd love to know from everyone watching, listening, how your experience was. Please do comment below, let us know. How are you feeling, Juliette?
Lovely. It's one of my favourite things, just being with the earth, being with ourselves and being able to express it, you know, being able to share that connection. You know, it's in moments like this, it's making me feel a bit emotional, that I feel truly, truly blessed to be on this earth and to be here now when things are changing and shifting. And, you know, when we just can be of humble service to the earth and be that conduit for love and connection, so much healing can happen for ourselves and everyone else, you know. And I'm not perfect. I do raise my voice, and I'm not above anyone. I'm the same as everyone else. You know, I always want to make that clear. I'm not talking from a place of highness, because I don't believe in that. I think we're all in this together, and no one is perfect, and we're all learning. And that's the joy of it for me, is that learning and always returning to the breath. And not beating ourselves up because maybe we had a coffee, or maybe we shouted at our kids, or maybe we didn't do things just as perfectly as we wanted. Whatever, like, that's fine, because that's just real. And I think that's the key, is being real and knowing that in each moment we have a choice. And just because one moment we made one choice doesn't mean in the next we have to make that same choice.
Absolutely. Julia, I love that. That was really, really magical. And that emotion that you feel, like being tapped into your purpose, that's just exactly why I do what I do. I was in a meditation and I got shown to create this speaking academy to teach people how to become speakers, because a lot of the very beautiful light workers I was meeting, they just didn't have a platform. They didn't know how to get on videos. They didn't know how to run workshops. They just had no idea, and they lacked that confidence in themselves, even though their hearts were so huge. And this is what I've been doing now for the past 4 years, is helping people to express the truth that's in their hearts. And that's what we're going to do on the 7th at our event in London. And I really would love anyone who wants to learn more from Juliette. She's going to be doing a whole 90-minute presentation. Please do come along. You can come as, if it's your first time, you could come as our guest for completely free, get a VIP guest ticket on us. We want people to come and experience what we do. And then just some people will surely join our community and they'll want to be around these amazing energies, and other people, maybe they'll just get what they need in that moment. Everything is perfect. But yeah, Julia, I'm super excited. And just for everyone who is listening now, how can they find out more about you, what you do? Like what's going on in Juliette's world at the moment?
So you can visit my website, which is www.juliettebryant.com. That's Juliette with 2 T's and an E. And on there has my upcoming events and all that kind of jazz. I'm on Facebook, juliettekitchen.tv, so you can check that out as well. I put out recipes and articles and all of that stuff. I'm working on with mentorship programs. I'm running. The next one starts in April, and that's something I really love because I take 8 people on a journey for 3 months each week, and that is such a powerful process of reconnection. And if you're interested in knowing more, I do a free 15-minute call, so you can send me a message and we can have a quick chat and see if it's something that resonates with you. I think that's the best way for anything, is to feel if something resonates. I've got books I've written. I've also got lots of amazing superfood products which I've created with love and great ingredients. My newest one is a CBD hot chocolate mix, which is just amazing. So yeah, all that's on my website, so you can check all those things out.
And for everybody who's coming to our event, Juliette's going to be bringing some yummy drinks and foods and things as well, super like high vibrational stuff. So if you want to come for that and you want Juliette to make you a handmade special lunch, that is part of it. You just need to message us in advance. Let us know that you'd like one of Juliette's special lunches, and she'll come up with something super cool for you. Juliette, just thank you so much. Really appreciate you. And yeah, thank you for shining so brightly. Thank you for the part you've played in my journey so far, and really looking forward to seeing what the universe has in store for us in the future.
Thank you. Thanks for all the work you do. It's brilliant, and it's been such a joy talking to you today.
It's my absolute pleasure. Juliette, if there is one final message you'd like to leave everyone with, just imagine that you have this magic microphone, and whatever you say for the next 30 seconds, every single person, every being in the entire universe will feel it and hear it and receive it. What would you want to say?
Love yourself. Like, I think that is the most important thing that we can do, is to really love ourselves, and we don't. So many people don't. And you know, it's really simple to love yourself. It's hard, but it's simple. And doing a meditation like that, where you connect back into the earth, really helps you to love yourself, because you realize that there's more to you than just than just this. And that is the key to it all. You know, I think all our problems come from not loving ourselves. So I know that can be a hard thing to do. We've all got reasons why, stories why we don't love ourselves and all the rest of it. But if we can just connect back into the earth, just tune into the earth through breath, through going out in nature, then we can remember that we are more than just our physical being. We are beautiful, beautiful beings who are part of this amazing universe.
Absolutely awesome. And on that bombshell of love, we will end. Thank you, Juliette. It's been an absolute pleasure. Everyone, do connect with Juliette. She's an incredible being. And go out there, love yourselves. Hope to see you at one of our events very, very soon. And yeah, just know that you have access to an infinite source of wisdom and energy, and that is who you are at your deepest level. So go and be that. And yeah, we're super excited to see how you evolve and you shine.